If you're 16, 17, or 18, you probably don't tell people how anxious you really are. You just say, I'm tired. You say, I'm fine. You say, I just don't feel like going out tonight. But that's not the truth, is it? The truth is, sometimes your own mind feels like a room that you can't escape. You overthink every text before you send it. You replay conversations from 3 days ago. You walk into school and instantly feel like everyone can see something that you're doing wrong. The way you stand, the way you walk, the way that your voice sounds, the way your face looks when you're just trying to simply exist. And the worst part is, nothing even has to happen. That's what people don't understand about anxiety. It doesn't need a reason. It can't ruin your day before your day even starts. You can wake up with your heart already racing. Like your body got an emergency alert but forgot to tell you what the danger was. And then you have to go and be normal. You have to sit in class, answer questions, walk through hallways, you have to talk to people, you have to laugh at jokes, you have to act like there isn't a storm happening inside of your chest. I know that feeling. And I know it so well that it still hurts to talk about. Because when I was 16, anxiety didn't look like panic attacks in a movie. It looked like me standing outside of a classroom pretending to tie my shoe because I was too scared to walk in late. It looked like me reading a text 10 times before replying, and then deleting the reply and then rewriting it and doing that 10 times again. And somehow still feeling like I had just signed a legal document. It looked like hearing people laugh behind me and immediately thinking they were laughing at me. It looked like checking my face in the black reflection of my phone screen before walking into a room. It looked like saying no to things I desperately wanted to say yes to. Because anxiety is not just fear. Anxiety is also grief. It's grieving the version of yourself that you want to happen. That version of yourself that would have tried. The version of yourself that wouldn't have cared so much. And every time I stayed home, I told myself I didn't want to go. But I did. I wanted to go so badly. I wanted to be the kind of person that could walk into a room confidently. I wanted to talk without rehearsing it in my head first. I wanted to make friends without feeling like I was bothering them, and I wanted to live without constantly asking myself, what if? What if they judge me? What if I say something weird? What if I embarrass myself? What if they notice that I'm nervous? What if I'm always like this? And that last one hurt the most. What if I'm always like this? One night I remember sitting on the edge of my bed with my shoes on. I had been invited somewhere. Not even anything crazy, just a small hangout, a few people from school. Something normal people do without turning it into a life or death situation. And I wanted to go, I really did, I really wanted to go. And I had spent the whole day imagining it. Maybe this would be the night that I finally felt different. Maybe I'd walk in, loosen up, make someone laugh, feel included for once. Maybe I'd come home with a story. But as the time got closer, my chest started tightening. My stomach dropped. My hands felt cold and shaky. I kept looking at the clock like it was counting down to an execution or something. And then my brain started. What if you get there and nobody talks to you? What if you stand there awkwardly? What if they only invited you to be nice? What if you ruin the vibe? What if they realize that you're not who you thought they were? And I just sat there, shoes on, hoodie on, phone in my hand, frozen. And my brother called from downstairs. Are you leaving soon? I said, yeah, of course I'm going to leave soon. But I wasn't. I was just sitting there, trying not to have an anxiety attack because I knew what was about to happen. I knew I was going to cancel. Again. So I typed the message. Sorry, something came up. Nothing came up. I came up. My fear came up, my anxiety came up. The version of me that wanted to live got tackled by the version of me that wanted to feel safe. And I sent it. I took my shoes off. And I swear that was one of the loudest sounds I ever heard. Just my shoes hitting that floor. Because nobody else heard what I had lost. To everyone else, I just didn't come. But I knew. I knew I had just watched another tiny piece of my life happen without me in it. I lay down in bed with my hoodie still on, staring at the ceiling, listening to my phone buzz. Pictures started coming in later, people laughing and smiling, standing in the kitchen like being alive was so easy, and I hated myself. Not them, but myself. Because I wanted to be there. I wanted to be normal, I wanted to be brave. But instead, I was alone in my room, safe from embarrassment, safe from judgment, safe from rejection, and somehow still hurt. And that's the cruelest thing about anxiety. It promises to protect you from pain. Then it gives you a different kind of pain instead. It says, stay home so you don't feel awkward. and then it makes you feel lonely. It says don't speak so you don't sound stupid, and then it makes you feel invisible. It says don't try so you don't fail, then it makes you feel stuck. And after a while, you start thinking the problem is you. You think you're weak, you think you're broken, you think everyone else got some instruction manual on how to be a person, and you didn't. You're not broken, you're scared. And there's a big difference, one that I wish someone had told me earlier. I wish someone had walked into that room, sat beside me, the kid still wearing the hoodie and shoes, and said, "You're not a coward. You're not pathetic. You're not hard to love. Your nervous system is trying to protect you from a world it thinks is dangerous. And one day, you will teach it that you are safe." Because that's what healing from anxiety is. It's not waking up one day with no fear. It's not becoming fearless. Fearless people aren't real. Everyone is scared of something. Healing is when fear gets in the car, but you stop letting it drive. And at first it feels impossible, so hard. And so you don't start with your whole life. You start with 1 inch. One message you send, even though your hands are shaking. One class you walk into, even though your heart is racing. One question you ask, even though your voice cracks. One hangout you stay at for 10 minutes longer than your anxiety would want you to stay at it. One truth that you tell someone. "I've been anxious lately." That sentence can feel like jumping off of a bridge. But sometimes, it can become a smaller bridge. Because anxiety grows in silence. And it gets louder when you hide it. It convinces you that nobody would understand. But the moment you say it out loud to someone safe, nothing changes. Not everything, but something. The monster gets a little smaller when someone else can see it too. And maybe your teenage years with anxiety doesn't look like the ones you imagined. Maybe you've missed things, canceled plans, and stayed quiet when you want to speak. Maybe fear has stolen moments from you that you'll never get back. And I'm not going to lie to you, that hurts. It really does. And it's okay to grieve that. It's okay to be sad about the life anxiety has made harder. But please hear me. Your life is not over because anxiety has been loud. You're not ruined because you're afraid. You're not behind because things seem easy for other people and hard for you. Some people are fighting battles everyone can see. And some people are fighting wars inside their own chest while still showing up to school. Still answering "I'm fine." Still trying to be kind. Still trying to survive every day. And that stuff counts. That day you were anxious and still got out of bed counts. That moment you want to disappear but stayed counts. You count. And one day, I promise, you won't measure your life by everything fear stopped you from doing. You'll measure it by every time you were scared and moved away. Not perfectly, not confidently, just honestly. Because your courage is not the absence of anxiety. Courage is shaking and still reaching for the door. It's crying after you send the text, but sending it anyways. It's walking in late with your heart pounding and realize nobody cared as much as your brain said they would. It's letting your voice shake and still finding out people still listen. It's learning slowly, painfully, beautifully that your fear is loud, but it's not God. It does not know the future. It doesn't get to decide who you become. So tonight, don't try to fix your whole life. Just try to do one brave thing. Tell someone, write it down, take the walk, send the message, step outside your room for 5 minutes. Let your brain scream, and then show that it can survive. Because you're not your anxiety. You're the person who has been carrying it. And that fact that you're still here, still trying, still hoping for a life that feels lighter, that means there's a part of you that anxiety never managed to kill. Protect that part. Feed that part. Follow that part. Because one day that tiny voice inside you that says, "I want to live differently," is going to get louder than your fear. And when it does, you won't become a completely different person. You'll become who you were before fear convinced you to hide. And I hope you stay long enough to meet that version of yourself. I truly do. Because they're not gone. They're waiting. Under the panic. Under the overthinking and the racing heart. Under the "sorry, I can't make it." There's still a very brave person in you. A person who wants to be seen, to be loved. A person that wants to live. And little by little, you are going to bring them home.